Okay, let's get into it. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really famous chapter, Job chapter 1.
Right. It's quite the starting point. It throws you straight into these huge questions about suffering, faith, and, well, testing.
It really does, and it introduces Job himself right away from the land of Uz.
And the description is key, isn't it? Blameless and upright, he feared God and shunned evil. That's quite the introduction.
Definitely sets a high bar. And he wasn't just pious, he was incredibly successful by any standard back then.
Oh, absolutely. The source lists it all out.
Mhm.
7 sons and 3 daughters, massive wealth. What was it, 7,000
Yeah,
sheep?
thousands of sheep, camels, oxen, donkeys, loads of servants. It literally calls him the greatest man among all the people of the East.
You get this picture of someone who has it all. Blessings upon blessings.
And importantly, his piety wasn't passive. He was actively concerned, especially about his children.
That part's quite striking. After their feasts, he'd purify them, make burnt offerings, just in case.
Thinking, perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. It shows this deep, constant mindfulness.
A proactive faith, you could say, covering all the bases.
Exactly. So you have this perfect setup almost. Earthly success, deep spiritual devotion. And then the scene just shifts dramatically.
It does. Suddenly we're elsewhere, in the heavenly court.
Yeah, the source says, one day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord.
And Satan also came with them. That entrance always gets me.
And the Lord himself brings Job up. Asks Satan if he's noticed Job, saying there is no one on earth like him. High praise.
But Satan, well, he immediately questions the motive, doesn't he?
Right, that's the core of it. Does Job fear God for nothing? He implies it's all conditional.
He suggests God has put this protective hedge around Job, his family, everything he owns. Basically, why wouldn't he be faithful?
It's a cynical view, really, that faith is just a transaction.
And he proposes the test. Stretch out your hand and strike everything he has.
And he will surely curse you to your face.
Yeah.
That's the challenge laid down.
Yeah. And the Lord allows it, gives Satan permission to go after Job's possessions, his wealth, his family.
Crucially, though, with one limit. On the man himself do not lay a finger. Job's physical body is off limits for now.
So the stage is set for catastrophe, and it unfolds with terrifying speed.
It's brutal. While his kids are feasting, messenger after messenger arrives. Non-stop bad news.
First, the Sabians. They raid the oxen and donkeys, kill the servants, one escapes.
Before Job can even process that, another messenger arrives.
The fire of God fell from the sky, burns up the sheep, more servants. Again, just one survivor to tell the tale.
Then, almost immediately, the Chaldeans. 3 raiding parties sweep in, take the camels, kill more servants, one escapes.
It's just relentless. Wealth, livelihood, gone in a moment.
And the final blow, while that third messenger is still speaking, another arrives.
Yeah, the worst news imaginable. A mighty wind collapsed the house where all 10 children were.
Kills them all. Every
These-
single one. The repetition of only one escape just drives home the totality of the loss.
Can you even imagine receiving that series of blows, one after another, everything wiped out?
So the central question becomes, how does this blameless and upright man react? Does Satan win the bet?
Well, his first reaction is visceral grief. The source says Job got up and tore his robe and shaved his head.
These are outward signs, expected signs of mourning and devastation. But then,
And he does something extraordinary. He fell to the ground in worship.
worship. Not curses, not anger directed at God, but worship. It's stunning.
And his words, they are maybe some of the most famous in the whole book.
Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away.
May the name of the Lord be praised.
Yeah.
Wow. He attributes it all back to God, the giving and the taking.
And praises God in the midst of utter ruin. The source explicitly concludes the chapter by saying, in all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing.
He passed the initial test. Satan's prediction didn't come true, not yet anyway.
So, this first chapter, it sets an incredibly high bar for faith under pressure, doesn't it? It challenges, I think, many of our natural assumptions about how we'd react.
Absolutely. It forces you to ask, what does it mean to have faith when it costs you everything, when the blessings are gone?
Is faith only for the good times? Job's initial response here suggests, well, something deeper.
A faith perhaps not entirely dependent on circumstances.
Exactly. So let's leave you with this to think about. Job loses literally everything society values, his wealth, his family, his security, boom, boom, boom. Yet his first move, after the initial shock and grief, isn't bitterness towards God, it's worship, it's acceptance. What might Job's immediate reaction here in chapter 1 suggest to you about the very nature of true faith, especially when everything you rely on is stripped away?